Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing a recent petition which is making the rounds here in the kingdom, and it's on the lips of many expats these days. And it pertains to, as the title of this video suggests, the TM30. Now, before we get started, I just want to go ahead and provide the website. It's reform-thai-immigration.com. That's reform-thai-immigration.com. And there are a few, there's been quite a bit of hubbub, if you will. There's been quite a bit of discussion out there regarding this recent petition. In a recent article from the Bangkok Post, bangkokpost.com, but this actually, to the best of my knowledge, I found this in print format. Go ahead and put that up there. I can't seem to find it online, so it appears that this is print only. We'll go ahead and throw that up there real quick. Quoting directly, the headline is, "Foreigners want TM30 scrapped." Quoting directly, a group of foreigners in the Northeast have launched a petition calling for the Immigration Bureau to abolish the TM30 form. And again, they cite various things and they note the website. Then in a later article, this is bangkokpost.com, it's an editorial entitled TM30 A Shot in the Foot. And it's quite a long editorial. I urge those who are watching this to go to that directly. Quoting directly, "Just last week, Acting Immigration Chief Police Lieutenant Sompong Chingdawang declared that the TM30 process would continue to be imposed strictly, but that it would be done easily online or via an app. Sadly, neither the app nor the website appear to work reliably." Quoting further, "Long-term expats were already having a horrendous year even before TM30, as regulations were also changed for applications for retirement visas. In exasperation at the enforcement of TM30, a group of foreigners in the Northeast launched a petition on Saturday calling for the requirement to be reviewed." Now, I've read about this petition. People have been asking me about it. Quite frankly, there's gotten to be kind of a cacophony of folks asking me about my opinion on this. And to be clear, I haven't said anything about it sooner because, frankly, it doesn't really pertain to me. I have legal residence in the Kingdom of Thailand, and the TM30 pertains to those who are temporarily in the kingdom. There are other videos on this channel, and there are going to be some videos we're making contemporaneously with this one, which goes into exactly how TM30 is applied, etc. So one of the reasons I didn't really want to say anything is because it really isn't exactly my place. It doesn't pertain to me. I haven't had to deal with this. And, you know, in the past, when I've dealt with immigration, this wasn't really a requirement because, as noted in prior videos and also in this information that I've quoted and in the petition and on the website for the petition itself, it noted that, yes, this has existed for like 40 years, but it hasn't been enforced for seemingly nearly all that 40 years. It's really nobody that has a memory of the immigration system that I know of can remember a time when TM30 was enforced to the level it is now. That being said, it's always been on the books, so lack of enforcement, you can't bank on that, for lack of a better term. There's no detrimental reliance on lack of enforcement. What do I think of the petition? Well, I think the people that have come up with it, I think their intentions are laudable. I actually think that they're less inclined toward their own self-interest, although everyone is, and frankly more inclined to just seeing a system that overall is efficient and, for lack of a better term, makes sense. Whereas those who are just sort of worried about, you know, what they have to file usually don't go to this level of, you know, they don't mount a website, they don't sort of mount a campaign to have this whole thing discussed. I do think there's a general feeling that this is somewhat superfluous and that it could be more efficiently done. I think that's pretty well true. I think the roots of its inefficiency, if you will, lie in the statute that created it and also the presumptions about temporary status. as I get into in other videos, TM30 was designed at a time when it was presumed that non-immigrants were exactly that. They were not going to stay in temporary status for a particularly long period of time. The presumption being they would either leave after a relatively short period of time or they would become permanent residents, and PRs do not need to deal with TM30 because they have a different regime wherein they have to report. So I think part of the reason for its inefficiency is when it was designed, the presumption was a person might be in Thailand on a temporary visa, a non-immigrant visa, which is a temporary visa. Its very label has its temporariness embedded in it, i.e. non-immigrant. The presumption when that was created, when that scheme was created and TM30 came about, was that someone in a non-immigrant B visa would spend a year or two, and that would be it. They'd either leave or they'd spend their 3 years, 3 to 5 years, something like this, become a PR, and then it wouldn't be an issue anymore. I don't think anyone particularly foresaw something wherein you would have a lot of non-immigrants, staying in non-immigrant status for years and maybe even decades. So some of it has to do with a bit of a disconnect between the intentions at the time this was created and the situation on the ground now. Again, I think the folks that have mounted this campaign, I think that their intentions are laudable. I think that they're looking for a more efficient system by which to deal with matters pertaining to reporting of foreigners in the kingdom. Now, a wiser man than myself once said, and a colleague for that matter, when I was dealing with a rather difficult U.S. immigration case, once told me that two people that don't have constituencies, and we were talking about this in the context of the United States, the two groups of people that don't have constituencies are prisoners and immigrants. And that was said because they can't vote. So in that case, how much is really going to happen at the behest of a constituency that can't exactly vote? It remains to be seen. And in Thailand, I might, and under these circumstances, I might caveat that or add to that saying with, folks that don't have constituencies are immigrants, prisoners, and non-immigrants, even more so. Non-immigrants, who this specifically pertains to, again, presumptively under the law, and I think presumptively in the collective consciousness here in the kingdom, those folks are here temporarily. And so for that reason, it's sort of one of these, well, you're here temporarily. These are the rules to be here temporarily. If you want to be here more permanent, get into a more permanent status. If you're looking to leave, go ahead and go. I don't think that there's any animosity that backs that up. I just think that that is the paradigm that persists with respect to non-immigrant status. And do I think that that will, by dint of the fact that the folks involved here, for lack of a better term, don't have a vote in terms of voting in Thailand, do I think that'll have an impact on the success rate or the prospect for success in this matter? Yeah, I do. I think that'll have a big impact. Now, here's another thing, though. As noted by the petitioners or the folks that are promulgating this petition, the folks that this TM30 affects the most really are people who fit, many of them are people who fit into the good guy column of the good guys in, bad guys out paradigm. These are people living and working. They may have done so for a contiguous period of time, fairly prolonged period of time. Presumably they may be taxpayers, or in the case of retirees, they're bringing income into the country, they're spending money in the country. There are strong arguments in favor of making the TM30 system or a system similar to it that might come up in the future, making that more efficient. I totally understand that. I've also seen it described as a push to make the system more transparent. And I can say, since the enforcement of TM30 came online, it has been very difficult to understand what the requirements are, who is required to do this, under what circumstances. Moreover, it has oftentimes come up where people are trying to apply for extensions of stay and this TM30 gets whacked over their head and they don't really know what to do. That's a real problem, and that's a problem that needs to be dealt with in order to increase the efficiency. One thing that finally should be noted from that first article we put up on here, again, it seems to have only been in the print edition of the Bangkok Post. At the very end of the article, I will quote further. Again, that article is titled foreigners want TM30 scrapped. Quoting directly, Acting Immigration Bureau Chief Police Lieutenant General Sompong Chingduan admitted the TM30 was problematic. Now, that's a secondhand quote, but again, I think the head of immigration would have a very deep understanding of the immigration system and how the apparatus works and how all these different component parts interplay with one another. I suspect it is rather problematic, the TM30, especially as the enforcement of it has just now come about. Dealing with it, it's been a bit clunky. People are getting used to it. I suspect the officers who are having to enforce it are getting used to it. It's problematic. And moving forward, do I think that we will probably see some traction in seeing this streamlined? I think it's very, very probable we will. And it will be interesting to see. We'll try to do a video to update folks on this channel if and when changes come about. We hope you found this video insightful. For those of you who are interested, we're trying to make videos to provide up-to-date information as soon as this information comes out. And for that reason, it may be a good idea to go ahead and click the bell button, the bell icon below, to go ahead and be updated as these videos come out, as you can go ahead and be apprised of the legal situation as it evolves.